My in-laws surprised us with a family photo shoot. I got dressed up, showed up, and found out it was just them and my husband. His mom said we didn't want to make it about couples. I laughed, pointed to his sister and her boyfriend posing together, and said, "Guess I'm just the help today." I'm a 38-year-old woman from Asheville, North Carolina, and I want to share a story that still makes my blood boil. It's about family, betrayal, and a little bit of revenge. Buckle up, because this one's a doozy. It all started when my mother-in-law, Patricia, called me with excitement in her voice. "We're organizing a family photo shoot next Saturday at the Biltmore estate. It's going to be a beautiful backdrop for our family portraits," she said. I was thrilled. The Biltmore is stunning, especially in the fall. I imagined us all dressed up, smiling against the backdrop of the estate's gardens. "Sounds wonderful, Patricia. What should I wear?" I asked. "Something formal." "We're going for a classic look," she replied. I spent the week planning my outfit, even booking a hair appointment to look my best. Saturday arrived, and I donned a navy blue dress with matching heels. My husband, Mark, wore a tailored suit. We drove to the Biltmore, chatting about how nice it would be to have updated family photos. As we approached the designated meeting spot, I noticed something odd. Patricia, her husband, Mark's sister Rachel, and Rachel's boyfriend were already posing for photos. "Where's everyone else?" I asked Mark. "I think this is it," he replied, looking confused. We walked up to the group, and Patricia greeted us with a tight smile. "Oh, I'm so glad you made it. We wanted to capture some family moments," she said. I looked around, puzzled. "But aren't we taking photos together?" Patricia hesitated. "Well, we decided to focus on the core family for these shots. We didn't want to make it about couples." I glanced over at Rachel and her boyfriend, who were posing together, arms wrapped around each other. "Guess I'm just the help today," I said, forcing a laugh. I felt humiliated. I had spent hours preparing, only to be sidelined. Mark looked uncomfortable but didn't say anything. On the drive home, I confronted him. "Did you know they planned to exclude me?" He shook his head. I had no idea. "I'm sorry." But his apology felt hollow. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the scene in my head. The smug look on Patricia's face, the way Rachel's boyfriend was included while I was left out. I decided I wouldn't let this slide. I remembered that Patricia was organizing a family brunch the following weekend. She had asked me to bring a fruit platter. I had an idea. I spent the week collecting photos of Mark and me from our travels: Paris, Tokyo, the Grand Canyon. I compiled them into a slideshow set to our favorite song. At the brunch, after everyone had eaten, I stood up. "I have a little something to share," I said, connecting my laptop to the TV. The slideshow played, showcasing our adventures and love. When it ended, I turned to Patricia. "I just wanted to remind everyone that while I may not be considered part of the core family, Mark and I have built a beautiful life together." The room was silent. Patricia looked uncomfortable, but I didn't care. After the slideshow, nobody said a word. Everyone just kind of sat there, fidgeting with their forks, pretending to sip coffee, acting like nothing happened. Patricia kept her eyes down. Rachel's boyfriend whispered something to her, and they both laughed awkwardly. Mark just stared at his plate. Later that night, I asked him, "Do you really think I overreacted?" He looked tired. "You didn't overreact. But maybe it didn't need to be so public." I laughed. "Oh, you mean like the photo shoot?" He didn't respond. He just walked into the bedroom and closed the door. That's when I knew I had shaken something deeper than just family brunch. A few days later, I got a text from my brother-in-law, Mike. He's married to Mark's younger sister. He's one of the few people in that family who has always been decent to me. "Hey, not trying to stir the pot, but just so you know, there's a second family group chat. You're not in it." My stomach dropped. I had always thought it was weird that certain events got planned without me hearing about them. I just assumed things were last minute, or not everyone got the memo. But now it made sense. Mike sent me screenshots. And there it was. Family, real one. The group chat where they joked about me being extra, too sensitive, and not really one of us. Patricia had even called me the guest star. I felt like someone had punched me in the chest. That night, I showed the text to Mark. He rubbed his eyes, sighed, and said, "It's just how they talk. They don't mean anything by it." I stared at him. "So you knew?" "I didn't want to make things worse," he said. "You're my husband. You let them treat me like a stranger in my own marriage." He just shook his head. "This is why they don't want to include you. You blow everything out of proportion." I didn't say anything else. I just grabbed my keys and went to stay with my friend Mia for the night. 2 weeks later, I got a formal dinner invite in the mail from Patricia. Handwritten. That alone was weird. It said, "We'd like to clear the air. Come for dinner. Just you. No Mark. No explanation." I debated going. Mia told me not to. She said, "They're going to gang up on you." But something inside me needed to see what their next move was. I showed up. It was just Patricia, her husband Frank, Rachel, and her boyfriend. The air was tense. The food was untouched. Patricia sat at the head of the table like she was the queen of something. She cleared her throat. "We wanted to talk. Your behavior at the brunch, it was dramatic. Unnecessary. It made everyone uncomfortable." I didn't blink. "You mean the brunch where you asked me to bring fruit so I could serve everyone while you ignored me?" Rachel chimed in. "You've always had this energy like you're trying too hard." Frank stayed quiet. He wouldn't even look at me. Then Patricia said, "We think it's best if you took some space from family events. It's not a formal disinvitation. We're just suggesting a break." I leaned forward. "So I'm not family. Just say it." Nobody said a word. I stood up. "Good to know. This will be the last time you ambush me." And I walked out. When I got back to our house, Mark was watching TV. "How was dinner?" he asked without looking at me. "They suggested I stop showing up to family things," I said. He paused. "Maybe it's for the best." I looked at him, really looked. And in that moment, I realized something I didn't want to admit before. He had chosen them. Not with words, but with silence. 3 days after the dinner, I got an email. Subject: legal documentation. Property transfer inquiry. I almost deleted it, thinking it was spam, until I saw the sender, Klein and Rowe Law Firm. I opened it and read the message twice. Then a third time. It was a request for my signature regarding the temporary transfer of property ownership, a family cabin in Lake Lure that belonged to Mark's grandparents. I'd heard them talk about fixing it up and maybe using it for vacations, but it was always brushed off like a pipe dream. Apparently, it had already been signed over to Patricia. And my name was on the original title, something Mark and I had done for tax reasons when his dad passed away. So why was I only now finding out they were trying to remove me from the paperwork? I drove straight to the cabin. It was no longer the dusty, run-down building I remembered. There were trucks in the driveway. Construction guys on ladders. A new porch halfway finished. And a sign staked in the yard. Blue Ridge Serenity Retreat. Opening soon. I asked one of the workers who's funding this. He shrugged. Some family business. A woman named Patricia is running it. She came with her daughter and the guy, Rachel and her boyfriend. I was stunned. They were turning the cabin into a luxury Airbnb. And they were doing it behind my back, even though my name was still legally attached to the place. I didn't call Mark. I didn't text Patricia. I drove home, printed every email, copied every screenshot, and laid them out on the dining table like a crime board. When Mark got home from work, I didn't say hello. I just pointed at the table. He walked over, stared at the papers, then looked at me. "You went up there?" I said nothing. He sighed. "They said they'd tell you when it was all figured out. It's a business thing. Complicated." "You mean stealing?" He looked away. I pressed on. "Why is Rachel's boyfriend helping with a family project I wasn't even told about?" He finally looked at me. "Because they consider him family." And just like that, the dam inside me broke. That night, I logged into our shared savings account, the one Mark and I both deposited into, where we saved for our home, for future vacations. I hadn't checked it in a while. We both trusted each other with finances, but I noticed a new transfer category, consulting fee. Multiple transactions, thousands of dollars, all made out to Rachel's boyfriend. I pulled the records. The money was funneled into helping fund the renovations at the cabin. He had used our shared money, my money, to bankroll a family project I was intentionally excluded from. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Mike called. "You might want to talk to a lawyer," he said. "They're planning to open the retreat before summer, and they've already told some people you signed off on everything." "But I didn't," I said. "I know," Mike replied. "But Patricia's been telling people you're mentally unstable, that you're under a lot of stress, and shouldn't be involved in financial stuff right now." I sat down slowly. My chest felt tight. "You're kidding," I whispered. "I wish I was," Mike said. "Also, I only found this out because I overheard Rachel talking at brunch. She said if you started pushing back, they'd say you weren't well and had been making scenes lately." That's when everything started clicking. The exclusion, the photo shoot, the space from family events, the dinner just for me. They were building a narrative, a case, and they thought I'd be too emotional to fight back. They forgot who I was. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just made an appointment with a lawyer. Her name was Brenda. Older woman. No nonsense. I liked her immediately. After I laid everything out, screenshots, emails, bank transfers, the title deed to the cabin, Brenda looked at me and said, "They tried to bury you in broad daylight." She helped me freeze the account connected to the cabin. She filed a cease and desist letter to Patricia and her lawyer. And she started building a legal case. But I didn't stop there. If they wanted to paint me as unstable, I was going to be loud, clear, and public. First, I made a public Facebook post. I never use Facebook. But this time, I uploaded a long, detailed story. With receipts, bank records, screenshots of Patricia calling me the guest star, photos of the construction workers, copies of the email I got from the lawyer asking me to sign away my rights. I tagged Mark. I tagged Patricia. I tagged Rachel. I didn't curse. I didn't make threats. I just told the truth. And the internet did the rest. Within 24 hours, half their church group unfriended Patricia. 2 of her neighbors, who were originally planning to book stays at the Lake Lure cabin, canceled and left comments like, "Didn't know your retreat was built on lies." Rachel's boyfriend lost his job. Turns out, his company had strict ethics guidelines. Once my post went viral and his name got linked to it, they let him go for reputational reasons. Patricia's Airbnb page never launched. Brenda made sure of that. The cease and desist went through, and because I still legally owned part of the property, they couldn't touch it without my signature. Mark came home late one night. I was packing. Not my things, his. He looked at the suitcase on the couch. "What's this?" I didn't even raise my voice. "You chose them. You let them tear me down. You used our money to fund their scheme. I gave you chances. You failed all of them." He started to say something. I raised my hand. "No more words. You're out. I already filed for separation. My lawyer sent you the papers." He sat down, rubbed his face. "I never wanted this to go so far. Then you should have stopped it. Now, here's the part I'll admit. I wasn't innocent either. I ignored red flags for years. I kept trying to be liked. I let them exclude me over and hoped that one day they'd see me as one of them. I buried my voice to keep peace. That was my mistake. I gave people power who didn't deserve it. But I'm not making that mistake again. I sold my part of the cabin to an outdoor therapy group that helps abused women heal in nature. They tore down Patricia's porch and built a fire pit for survivors. Patricia called me, screamed into the phone, said I ruined everything. I smiled and said, "No, Patricia. I just made it fair." Then I blocked her number.